Junior high art, here we go. This is our last gesture drawing. So what we're going to do is we are going to be creating a gesture drawing like we have for the other weeks, 1, 2, and 3. And now what we're going to do, it's going to be a lot like week 3, but now we're just going to take that gesture drawing and we're going to use it as a base to create a realistic looking drawing. So we're just going to take our drawing further. So now what we're going to do is use gesture drawing like can be for a base drawing, creating the structure so that we have solid proportions and we create a drawing that's mostly lifelike. So what we're going to do, swing on over here. This is the drawing that we'll be working on. You can see we've got a pretty excitable guy in the Olympics. I'll have this uploaded onto the Google Classroom so you can see that. But what you're doing is you are referencing this image only. You don't have to print it out. You're not tracing it from a paper. You're not tracing it from the screen. You are just using the image that you see there. You're just referencing it from your computer. Alright? So we are going to go ahead, turn down, and look at my paper. So you can see paper is blank. We are going to get started, and I am going to be drawing just with pencil. Okay, so this is how we start, just like all the other drawings. Okay, we're going to start with what we think of as the action line. Now this is just like before. Action lines can really represent how you feel it works best for the image, but we are starting with the action line and then building from there. Okay, and we are trying to fill as much of the paper as we can, so big lines. Alright, so pretty big action line we've got a shoulder line in and the hip line. Okay, now recommendation for this is do it all in pencil, and also draw light, drawing light as you go, lighter and darker as you become more certain about what you're seeing. Okay, so I have the hip line and I've got the shoulder line, and now I'm going to build off of there and I'm going to start putting in my arms. Okay, I'm going to kind of distinguish where his shoulders are at a little bit just for me. Okay, I'm going to bring in that shield shape now just to kind of help show myself where this is at. Spine is pretty close. Chest kind of comes there. Torso, I like where that's at. If I look at the proportions, I need to make sure hip, shoulder goes there, his hip comes below it, so I think I'm just going to move my hip line there. Looking at it, I can see this kind of ends at the same place his knee does, and his leg goes way out there. Okay, so I've got a pretty good structure base to work from. Okay, now things I can do is I can check my proportions. Okay, and now if you're using a screen, you can check it directly. Okay, so if I look at and I use my pencil, I can look at, okay, so if I put that pretty much right there. Okay, now if I'm drawing 1-to-1, that means that my drawing is the same size as the thing I'm looking at. I could reference it like that. Referencing it there, I can see where my pencil is. I could go about there. Okay, so then probably the same here. Could go a little bit further. Check the arms. Okay, the arm doesn't really go much past that point, so I could come out just a little bit further. Okay, and arm is contained within the silver part. Pretty close. Okay, something I might want to check is his head. If I check this, so if if I could contain, it's pretty much, you can see it's contained within this bit. So if I do that, get a pretty good idea where his head could be at. Okay. Alright. Got that drawn in. Now I'm going to start drawing in the mass forms. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at those forms and how they connect. So we've got that shield shape already there, so that's pretty good. I like that. Okay, might carry it down just a little bit further. Okay, and then he's got torso connects. Okay, and then we've got second part of his torso, kind of that side profile. Okay, so I've connected that. That looks pretty solid. I'm going to start drawing in those kind of rough shapes. Okay. I'm currently looking at, should be referencing the image quite a bit. Okay. These are just rough forms. These are just helping me figure out right where everything is. Alright, pretty good start. Okay, now we have the mass forms. All that's set. Pretty good. Now the hard part. We are going to start to take this drawing closer and closer to reality. Okay, we are going to trying to make this a completed drawing. So what I'm going to do is just baby steps. I'm going to start looking at a little bit of information and how I can make it look more lifelike. Okay, we'd be taking like his jersey. That would be a good step. I could really do that to kind of figure out where things are at. His uniform. Okay, so I'm going to take another look there. Okay, I'm going to look at like how does his jersey move in here, what parts do I see. I could kind of leave those specific details for later, but like just kind of outlining that, and like his braces and his shoes, putting those kind of things in will help me figure out what I want to put in. Okay, so I'm going to look at that first. I'm going to become more solid with my detail. Kind of start adding in kind of the shading details. I like where most of my arm stuff is at. Just looking at like specific muscle details, where those lines are at, where those shadows are on his arm. Hands are tricky. Just kind of break them in. It's just a matter of slowly bringing that information further along, looking at specifics. Shading on the belt, he's got a darker belt. Now you can do this in color, or if you want to just leave it in graphite, that's fine too. Either way is a good way to do it. Still should be some kind of shading, some kind of detailing that shows value. And the other key aspect to this is erasing. Okay, I'm slowly removing my marks too. Obviously he doesn't have all of those marks that I left in there for gesture. The base layer marks of his form aren't there, so we need to make sure we take those out. Some of them you might be able to hide, some of them might be okay to leave, but anything that's not seen on the drawing itself should be taken out. I'm including a few shading worksheets in this. You don't have to do them, but it could help you practice getting in your shading if you feel that you need it. Okay, so I'm going to put in that. These specific details for like this 3 doesn't have to be done. Heads are tricky. Okay, this shape right here includes his hair, so we have to just be mindful of that. Easy way to do, he's kind of gonna put a line through it, and then we've got a line halfway, nose, mouth. Okay, so his mouth is open, he's pretty slowly adding in details of like what we see in the shadows. Okay, I'm going to try to keep his eyes on that line. Got that in. Now we need to make sure we finish it off, right? Okay, so I drew them pretty big, so to get the rings in there I need to look at where those rings hit on him. So paying attention to that, I'm just going to use his body as a reference to where the ring should be. So one of these rings comes out of his head and goes behind his arm. I'm just going to reel loosely and trying as hard as I can to keep it pretty light. It comes on the edge of his arm. I'm not looking for you to be crazy precise, but I'd say relatively precise. Okay, so then he's got another one, kind of overlaps over here, comes down there, kind of comes out on this arm. Now because where I drew him kind of high, So I'm not going to see all of the rings like I can in the image. That's okay. I just need to make sure my rings are close to what we. Now, the minimum I would say you could do, make sure you clean up all those extra lines. This is where we would look for more of a polished work. Could put in the detailing for the background, the value. Because of where we're at, I would typically normally have you do it, but you don't have to. But yeah, so make sure you get shadows, tracing in there, all of that. Put the rings on so we kind of have that guide to where they are. Right.